Welcome back to the Sunday Funday podcast. I gotta stop Mark from talking from time to time because right now he is really upset about Andrew Tate. He says,
L. Ron Hubbard.
He says Andrew Tate is the L. Ron Hubbard.
I love that though.
He says he's the L. Ron
L.
Hubbard.
Ron dog.
That's not a compliment, by the way.
It's not. It is.
Welcome back to the Sunday
take a
Funday
personality
podcast,
test?
the hangover that never sounded so good. I'm your host, Akil Patterson. I'm here with the OG, the Juice, and the Instigator, and we've got our friend today, the Foreigner. And yes, we know his name is Paul, but we're just going to go with the Foreigner because I keep giving people nicknames, and that's what I like to do.
Paul, speak some German into the mic.
Hallo, vielen Dank, dass ihr mich heute hier bei euch eingeladen habt. Ja, mir gefällt's.
You said something about being thankful for being here. Yes, I know.
Oh, shit. Let's
Nice.
go.
Why you get fucking Akil the knuckles?
I know.
Listen, I've traveled enough to understand the word thank you in enough languages.
Arrivederci.
Like,
Or go off. I know that too with like 24 different languages.
there's like a shitload of people in Oregon, obviously white, who are like, I didn't know that the blacks could also speak German.
You know what? It's funny.
We are educating probably Grants Pass right now.
Oh, remember the Mike Blake tracks.
Bedford,
Mike Blake tracks,
Clement
baby.
Falls is like, ich Einberliner.
Calamity Falls. But no, it's funny.
Mike
so
Blake tracks.
so for all my wrestling and all the traveling I've done,
Shout out Mike
Crying
Blake.
right now.
for all the traveling and the wrestling that I did in my lifetime, that was one thing that I was very blessed with is like you meet people who are from other countries and the language barrier was so great. Like I remember, so Andre Manguzzi is an Olympic champion in wrestling, Italian.
The wood.
Yeah.
Can I get the wood?
What?
And
The wood?
the
What?
wood dog.
Back if that.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Huh?
then. Give me the
Yeah,
wood.
I knew what he was talking about.
But it's not a backwood,
blunt?
sir.
Oh, good lord! He's
Oh,
like the
you probably just get that one going.
Yeah, this one
too.
you might as well get this one going too.
Come on, Trey. I'm trying to
It's
help
a
out you.
Jizzy
Yeah,
J.
Dad.
Here.
Get
It's a
that
Jizzy
freshie.
J.
Hit that
Juicy
fresh.
J.
Come
All
on.
right, because he's like the wood. I was like, you mean
I know.
the
It's
weed?
like,
Man, I'm
we
sorry.
have blunts going right
Can I
now.
get the white owl?
Well, first off, we are in a
love to
state
watch
where it's
Mark smoke a
legal,
blunt.
and recently, I'm sharing the news. So 5 years ago, I was involved in a cannabis licensing deal that kind of went south, and it didn't go through originally. And we were supposed to appeal the hearing or whatever. And for 5 years, I haven't heard anything. Friday morning, I wake up to an email. That
5
says,
years later.
5 years later, an email. Hey, we need to get this into the licensing and regular people like ASAP. Our licenses due like Wednesday. And I was like, huh? Excuse me? For toi? And basically they were like, yeah. Oh, no one called you? And then I look and I go, well, I see that you guys found my email for this, but for the last 5 years, you've been sending emails to my name at yahoo.com. I've never had a Yahoo email either. So who thought this was a good idea if it never
Akil Patterson
came
at yahoo.com.
back? Exactly. And I was like, I never had a Yahoo account.
Well, you should make your Yahoo account.
Oh.
It was my Hotmail actually.
I was like, dude, it wasn't even a Hotmail. I've never used this email. So where the fuck did they get it? So end of the day, basically that's what it came about is that I now have a cannabis company that is regulated and licensed and
You own a license.
no. There's a company.
Uh-huh.
The company already was existence.
Oh, got it. Nice.
So I was just waiting for the formal license, but I hadn't heard anything. So I thought we were just paying taxes on nothing.
So you have a license for a dispensary, for a grow,
processor.
a processor.
So
okay.
basically,
What exactly is a
so
processor?
so I'm the middle guy.
Yeah, he can turn it into
Anything
vape,
you want.
gel,
Yep.
gummies. He can take the THC and turn it into whatever applicating platform you want to use it in.
okay, so
He's a good guy to know.
how do you go about like? Are you gonna decide to like do a certain product and then turn it into
He
that?
already has it. He already has an existing
Yeah,
company
it's
that's
already-
been creating
it already
it.
exists.
He just bought the wine company that you owned.
Okay,
Yeah.
but so like, are you gonna focus in edibles or is it just all of it?
So in different states there's different regulatory agencies, and so in this state particular that it's going to go in, Stop telling everybody's fucking business. Damn.
Vermont. He said
this
Vermont.
Is why I leave names out.
Shout out Merlin.
Yeah, stop, man.
It's
Shut
so
up.
funny how like the cultures are so different.
Yeah,
about
like you
their
just
food.
leave the name
You
out.
know, I don't know, but like,
Yeah,
what's,
you know,
what's wrong with
white
saying
people,
Because I
I
don't
don't
need
need
people-
trying
I
to
just don't need
pre-hype
people to,
where
like-
they're going. Like, oh,
Sure.
Amazon might be
Yeah.
going to this
It's
area,
fairly
but if it's
few
owned by
there,
black
though,
people,
so
like,
it's like-
why the fuck are you saying that shit?
Yeah.
Don't fucking say that.
Yeah.
It's so
Don't fucking
interesting.
tell a soul.
Yeah, why? It's
Yeah.
even not your
Well,
business.
because everybody gonna be like, oh, now we know where you at. We gonna come for your money. Like,
See how that's how black culture looks at
It's
it.
very specific.
And white
right?
culture's
Yeah,
like, we
like,
want
we're
tax
blowing it up.
incentives.
Yeah.
We want publicity. Isn't it just so
Like,
interesting?
no, I
Did
don't
you
want
hear I just bought
anybody.
a vineyard.
Yeah. What? See?
Gonna fucking pump that shit,
Yeah.
brother.
I'm not trying to pump that.
And
at
also,
all.
it's virtue signaling for whites.
Yeah.
Totally.
I don't do that.
You're letting them know what
'Cause
your
you
qua
want them to
is,
come,
or
yeah.
just not even what the.
I'm that bitch.
I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for black culture, I think it's totally different. There's a different set of values that go into owning a business than for whites.
Yeah.
And what's so interesting about it is that whites get the access to the small business loans so that when they get their idea, they can make it look as pimp as they want and really make it inviting.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, by the time minority business owners who don't get access to those loans, they got to do everything with cash. And typically what happens is they got the stoves, the freezers, the grill, all that shit.
Off of the junkyard.
No, all the food. They got their workers, but there's nothing left for the interior design of the concept. And so there's always
But
this.
that's how you know you're in a good fucking spot, dude. Like if you're going to a barbecue spot and you're going
Yeah, but
into
like
like
there's-
that old
but
school.
here's the
Also
deal,
things
man.
Minority business owners can access for being a minority business owner, right? Like,
I mean, there's things they can access, but most of it they can't.
okay,
And that's why he says like so.
And it doesn't
the
even
initial
things
money
out.
that you get for it is like very specific. It has to go towards operational cost. And unfortunately, new paint for the windows and doors ain't operational cost.
when they needed new windows and doors.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
that's not considered an operational cost. You can spend it on like a new fryer, a new fridge, like
New
there are
flooring, new
Yeah.
lighting.
Yeah.
that window and
Okay.
doors like those are separate items, sir. Separate items.
Or just
and it's
the,
like that because you're a minority business owner.
Yeah,
well, it's because
Like,
you just
why does that
because-
matter?
Well,
Like, why
because
does that make the
This
difference?
is better than an MBA program.
banks
I'm
don't
learning
bet
all I
on
need
black,
right now.
dude.
yeah, they don't.
That's well,
Banks
then
don't.
you know.
Banks don't
just
bet on
say, well, we
black.
know you're-
When they did the revival of
What is green
MLK, right? When
Yeah.
it was Union Boulevard, then it was MLK, right? And so then Clinton,
Every city has an MLK.
during Clinton's administration, he found a ton of federal money. He was able to get the federal government on board for revamping and bringing up these areas. So they refaced all the buildings. They knocked a bunch of buildings down, and this was all going to be like new buildings, new parking for black-owned businesses. So they got all the permits, they got everything, and then all the black businesses came in. And here's what the first disservice. Nobody that had ever had any successful businesses or business plan who was in the white world ever got together with any of these black business owners and tried to give them any kind of freaking information, tips, or help along the way. Because that's how we work in the white world. We know those things. We can talk to our brother or sister who's a doctor or attorney or knows somebody because it's the network.
Yeah.
You don't have that network in that culture. So we don't teach them anything new. We don't share any secrets. And then what businesses they opened up? Barbershop, nail shop, barbecue place. Dude,
Balloon
we didn't
spots.
do anything. All we did was we didn't teach anybody anything new. We didn't give them any more knowledge. We had the same businesses that we knew were only going to make X amount of dollars and only ever be able to be X amount to that tax base. And there, we did our job and we could move on. We did it. We fixed it up, and they still can't run it right.
Well, now
That's-
you're
this
that's
is
the
involved your history
pervasive.
over
That's the
time, right?
pervasive
So
You're
thought
talking
out there.
about,
Talking about
you're talking about what's going
historically.
on too. Like to this day with like big corporations, it's like we just hired our first ever black woman to be the CEO, and it's like she was never vetted. Like she wasn't brought up. They're just like, we just need to put a woman that's of a different descent. Like we can't have all these old white guys. And then when she falls in her face because nobody helped her, it's like, see, that's why we don't hire them. And then it just paints that fucking picture.
here's the problem, though. Here's the problem. This one that I face too. People will look down at a resume and they say, "Oh, this motherfucker's too qualified," or "They're a problem because look at how great they are, and we don't want greatness." Most people don't want excellence; they want mediocrity. They would rather have a mediocre CEO. Why? Because a mediocre CEO doesn't cause waves, will never cause problems. But a mediocre CEO will also never bring in ingenuity. And that means that things are stagnant because most companies like things the way they are. They're not looking for ingenuity. They're not looking for different ideas. It's across the board. When you see very ingenuitive people, they've had to go start their own daggone thing, or they're just like subjugated to being like, I'm just going to shut my mouth and sit here because that's all I can do. Because if I do anything more, go ahead.
If you don't mind me interrupting. So, do you feel being black in America, it's still a like me against the rest, or what do you think? Like, because I thought, the idea of this country is that everyone comes together and you're a very
Do you see that
guy and so on? Yeah, I see it right here.
Well, you see it here with us. But do you really see that in America from just being out in stores and restaurants and bars? When you and your fiance were doing things, like, how many people do you see like me serving you? And how many people do you see look like me walking around going, hey, did you have the right kind of service? Like the manager, the director, the owners. You normally don't see that. You don't see the Spanish guy as the executive of the restaurant industry.
But
We wear a different lens
but
than he
back
does,
up.
though, you
That's
know?
okay.
Like,
I agree and I don't disagree, because if I go to Spain, then that's all I see. If I go to Mexico, then that's all I see. If I'm in the Northwest, I'm seeing mostly white people. So the expectation should be that I'm not going to see as many other minorities in general.
The expectation in general,
In
maybe.
general.
But when you then say, hey, they represent 12% of a population, but they only represent 2% of CEOs. Does that even make sense?
Yeah, totally. Because if I don't have any knowledge of you and I'm not used to hanging out with people of another culture, then I'm going to be like, well, Edward is more my group. This is an unknown. That's how I think this. So I think it's access.
I think there's one that we can all say this happened recently. There was a NFL team's president said, and I'm going to paraphrase. He basically said, well, I have a hard time with black coaches because, well, the black coaches can't be in our same social group as me, and it's very awkward. And so people were like, oh, my God, I can't believe you said that. But I was like, no, that's reasonable, because he said exactly why he didn't hire a black coach. We have to be in these weird social groups, and he's not from those social groups, so it would be awkward for him to then have to come in and be part of these weird social groups who consistently say disparaging things about women, say awkward things about minorities, and everyone just kind of got to the point where it's like, yeah, it's just Todd, he's an asshole, and they walk away. But they just don't say anything to Todd, and so Todd thinks that everyone thinks like him. And now Todd's on Twitter talking about like, yeah, everybody in my circle thinks that, black people were given a fair chance, and everyone's like, no, Todd, everyone just doesn't care enough to say anything to you because they all know you're a fucking numbnuts.
But that's the problem, is that by not saying and not caring, it emboldens Todd to think that he has support, and then he has enough support that he goes on Twitter and puts his opinions out there for the world to see.
So,
You should be, you know what? I think Twitter is almost a metaphor to the AR-15s and the mass killings, because I think you should also be certified, registered, and licensed to have your opinion go out to more than 4 people. Like a dinner party or larger. If it's a dinner party or larger, you should have you have to pay like a registration fee and like a monthly bullshit dues fee. You have to be in a club. Yeah. I swear to God. Before the internet, if you had an opinion, you kept it to yourself. You didn't have you couldn't say your wacky shit.
Yeah, and now everybody feels like they're entitled to their opinion,
Sure.
and they love to share it, and they say
I'd rather
some
be
of the most
happy with
wild
what-
stuff
Right.
I've ever seen.
What does that do for you
Like,
sometimes?
I'm in
walk
this-
yourself in a circle.
So I'm going to Vegas for a bachelor party in June, and so I joined some Facebook group. It's like how to live Vegas, or like how to do it right, like how to save money, like where are the best places to eat. Some person today posted, they're like, look what I found at this casino. A $25 chip is the first picture. The second picture is a bag of meth. I'm like, what in the fuck are you doing and why are you posting this online? I don't want to see it. It's wild. And some dude is just like, well, technically,
like?
if you find a chip, it belongs to the casino. You can't just take it. I'm like, of all the things that you're calling out right now, that's what you're talking about?
What?
I will pull it up right now. I was shocked. And then
But
some
what is
ladies
the-
in the
what-
comments going, my daughter, be careful, because like that's 50% fentanyl. And some lady goes, my daughter took Molly and died because it was a fentanyl overdose. So be careful. And this guy goes, oh shit, my bad. I'm like, oh, what is this post? It was absurd. I'm gonna pull it up. You're gonna.
And you're
I was
getting.
like,
It
why
was
are you
provoking
posting
post.
this?
And I just want to make sure. And the
didn't
foreigner
find
is
a chip.
getting married tomorrow.
Yes.
Jesus criminy, dude.
Hold on, quick question.
It's-
Tomorrow's Monday.
Yeah.
Why did you choose a Monday?
Oh, it was free, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and so
Mondays don't
You know what?
cost
I
a
think you're
thing.
gonna have good weather.
so
It's actually supposed to be nice.
You know what a
today.
Monday? You know,
No,
all
but
right, so
literally
yeah, like
just said-
Paul,
Saturday.
and,
so-
Paul and his fiance are gonna
Mondays
they're gonna
are
get
funny.
married in like how long?
Yeah,
A year?
we're gonna
Fucking
have
Mondays.
They're gonna have like a big
weddings,
one. They just want to
yes.
get like a legal one in
Yeah.
the States.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't care if it's big or small.
And then we have.
Yeah.
why do they make Mondays?
looking for a
Why are they
venue
gonna do that?
Okay,
for the.
you're gonna have some
Of course.
witnesses.
Yeah.
Okay, are your parents gonna be there?
Yes. we
Okay,
have
okay,
20
you're
people
getting.
there.
Oh, okay, you got the right group then. And then you're gonna go to a nice place afterwards and eat.
Yeah.
And you got some music and dancing going on. Okay, it's a fucking wedding.
Monday. I just love the fact that he was
And,
so honest. He was just like,
It's
oh,
Monday.
it's free. No,
Yeah.
he said, oh, it's free.
But like,
That was
like
the first thing I was like, oh, it's free.
like the day was
The
free.
staff and the day.
I don't get it, dude. I don't understand
Yo,
that.
you've gotta
I
save
don't understand
this.
America.
I will.
Save that. I'm gonna
Okay,
put
here
that
can
on.
I read it?
Okay, yes, please. Let's hear what this thread says.
If anyone is missing their bag of rocks, my friend found them, and it says, Vegas day one found a $25 chip and a bag of rocks. In parentheses, meth.
Dude drinks Bud Light. That's the only drink you ever do.
And then the comments
Bag of
are
rocks.
the first comment is, according to casino rules, chips on the floor belong to the casino. And everyone's like, wow, you sound like the best guy to have at a party. And he's like, I'm actually pretty fun at the parties.
Does that mean that he gets to
All
take
right.
the bag of meth? Is that
Yeah,
what
is
he's
that,
saying?
is that what they're just implying? Like,
You
take
should,
the bag
you
of
should
meth?
download
I
the
gotta
Nextdoor
return
app
the chip,
because
but the
it's-
meth is
it's some of
mine?
the funniest shit.
The what app?
Why would you even
Nextdoor
touch
app.
the bag
Hold
of
on,
meth?
hold on,
Why
hold on,
you wanna
hold
take
on, hold on.
meth?
What app?
So if you want some like little like local or bullshit kind of like that, like if you have Nextdoor, it's kind of like so you can meet your neighbors, like
Yeah.
post, like,
Yes.
stuff. People will like literally provoke anybody on there and say the most ridiculous shit, and people are like, how dare you? I'm like, are you?
Some
know,
lady
and then-
called me out for throwing a party when I was in high school, and I went on there with my full name and everything. I said, look here, bitch. Look here, bitch. I will come down there if you don't want to say it to
Lock
my
me up.
face. My mom
Throw away
sees
the
it.
key.
My mom gets a phone call from one of my parents' friends and goes,
Saw you on the next door. But
get off next door
app. See,
now.
I
And I'm
told
like, wow, I really shit the bed, didn't I?
It's a
those
trap.
pesky kids again.
It's a trap. You
Those
again.
goddamn kids again.
What is going on
I've read
here?
it. I've read it. I thought that someone could do a science fiction theater on Nextdoor,
Yeah.
right? Easily. But the problem is like, it's like, why are you going into the alley of the restaurant to look through the trash cans? Why aren't you just staying in the fucking lobby where it's nice? Like social media, all the shit is just trash can after trash can.
Sometimes I see some like Hall of Fame posts. Like one time up in the Forest Heights neighborhood app, it said, someone's like, hey, found this little friend here walking along Miller. Does anybody know whose tortoise this is? And it's this giant tortoise just
that's
walking.
awesome.
And they're like, who lost
Holy
their
shit.
pet? And I'm like,
Maybe it belongs to the Oregon
what
Zoo. How'd
is
they get over there?
this?
That's
What
crazy.
is
You know,
going
that is an anomaly.
That
That's,
shit cracks me up. But then it's like, hey, to the lady that walked her dog and didn't pick up her poop, I have you on video. I'm going to come after you and I know exactly where you live.
They
It's
take
like,
pictures of
okay,
me
all
all
right.
the time at the park. I mean, all the time. I'm like,
Okay.
starting to the
All
park.
right.
Right.
All right. All right.
Sorry, we digress.
They called the shit poo.
All right. Back. Ooh, man.
That was good. That was good. That was good.
Wow, you guys talk about. So that was the whitest thing I ever heard in my life. Because let me tell you where we started with.
You get brown.
We were trying to talk about black businesses being successful and why they weren't, and we ended up with talking about tortoises. Holy hell! Like we went down the road of no past the point of no return.
This is gonna be
The
put in
final
like
threshold.
historical.
Can you
You know
imagine
what's after Monday? Tortoise Titty
how
Tuesday.
much legislation in the history of America has gotten passed, and there wasn't like at least another brown or black person in the room to fake and say, "What the fuck
Just
is
like
going
right
on?"
here.
Yeah, like
in
we
that
were
moment,
talking about something else, and you guys just made a law that just fucked us over. How did that work?
So you see, but that's what happens. It's like, we're going to pass this bill to help minorities. And then like an hour later, you're like, why does it say women? Like, it just says women now. Like it doesn't even say like black women or Asian women. It just says women. And it's like, and there you go. Women have thrown themselves into the conversation because of next door, where the mother who you cussed out called another mother. And now those women are all like, we have to do something about these young boys that are being assholes on the internet. And we're grown women. This is America's problem, is that we've got too many Karens walking around thinking that their opinion matters, just like too many Todds and Jeremys. And I'll even say it, even the Jaquans. Sometimes it's like, nobody wants to hear that shit, bruh. Like, just chill. Like, call it a day.
But isn't that them? Okay. When you brought up Jaquan,
I said even the Jaquan.
No, I know that's caused me to turn left a little bit. But like, then my next question is to each one of you.
And Jose's.
Not Jake.
And Bing Bongs.
Yeah.
And Maheens. I just want to make sure I cover all the
Dude,
demographics.
Muhammad.
Yeah.
Okay, we covered
Muhammad. It's the most common name in the world.
No,
Muhammad.
you will not get me canceled.
Muhammad.
You will not have the Muslims coming after me.
You just made it worse by
McMuffin.
doubling down almost by saying that.
No,
So you're
I'm
making
just
it
like,
worse.
no.
Stop talking about
No,
it.
we're not talking about that man.
I also wonder,
He's a
like,
prophet.
is this people's human being thing? Like, where people who don't get to be heard because they work 3 jobs a day and they got to keep their head down, like, this is their place to like exhaust, and when they exhaust, like, crazy shit that goes unchecked comes out because guys like Akil and I, who have a mom and dad that stayed together and like that prototypical right situation. Yeah. I don't think, even though we're doing a podcast, I don't think that he and I have the desire or need to be heard. I could be wrong, dude.
All the time. I don't have a desire to be heard all the time.
Right.
What I hate is when people who have absolutely no clue.
It's a lot of people, dude.
And that's the problem. It's like, when I'm like, I watch people and they're like, you see, this is the downfall of America. And I watch them like, people will go get prosecuted and grand juries make shit up all the time. Like, a lot of people don't go to jail. Like, it happens. Or, hey, it happened to people that Donald Trump even like hated, like the Central Park 5, where he took out an entire newspaper article about these like
in 4 different
yeah,
papers.
and like
Never apologized.
never apologized for it.
Stole those kids' youth.
Yeah, and they
Travesty.
didn't do anything. And when it comes out, when they finally get this DNA test, like 30 years in prison for something they didn't do, they're all exonerated. Yeah, they were being, what they were being was little shitheads, right? Because we all been there. Like, rather it's, they were stealing book bags, big deal. Or, you know, I don't know. What do you guys do in Germany when you want to get into trouble?
When you don't want to get into
No, when you want to get into trouble.
smoke weed.
Okay, you smoke. See? Like, you smoke weed. Okay, what else did you do? What else? Spray paint on shit. Isn't it illegal there?
Like, yeah.
A lot of graffiti. Yeah. So, like, you guys did dumb shit, but you're kids, and your police department doesn't, like, fucking go, you know what? We're just going to stare at all these black kids over here and, like, say they all did all the crime. It's like, hold on, there are 400 fucking thefts, and you're going to say just these 5 did that by themselves. These 5 that can't afford fucking shoes.
But that's an easy narrative to fall into when the black culture has been portrayed as the criminal and the person you should be afraid
Oh,
of.
there are people on Twitter that keep coming at me going, well, you know, blacks commit more crime than whites. I'm like, that is so untrue, bro. Have you ever been to Portland? All I ever see is like white heroin addicts committing crimes against black people that got jobs.
Just as many, more whites are doing home invasions and raping and shooting, and most times black is a black on black crime. It's usually
Absolutely.
black on black crime.
Well, so is white on white because it's like you shoot people in your own like demographic.
Yeah, but let's just also say that there's plenty of white on black crime because the whites still like to go after blacks. I mean, those 3 guys that got busted for shooting the guy jogging. It's a
Ahmaud
perfect
Arbery,
example.
yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
So like, it's not. When was the last time he said 3 black dads are like, let's go kill us some white people? Doesn't happen.
We probably say
Think
it,
it,
but
they think it.
we might say it at the cookout or something. But truth be told, we're on the 3rd bottle of Hennessy, and we're like, fuck it, we'll just sit here and play cards some more.
Yeah. You're more chill. You are actually more chill, believe it or not. People are like, oh God, I go listen to the black people really make me feel uncomfortable. Oh, their music.
I watched a video recently where this guy in Florida, he and his son literally kill a unarmed father who came over, and it's a white
saw
guy,
that
2 white
video.
guys, and it's because he was talking shit. He pulled a gun on his kid, like his 9-year-old, and he's like,
went to go grab that bed
yeah, the kid was like,
on the street.
he's like, it's on the street, and he's like, well, it's ours, and it's like, well, it's just on the street, and he pulled a gun on a 9-year-old kid.
Shotgun.
And then the boy's dad goes, I'll be damned if you're gonna pull. Now that was a father standing up for his son, and it got him killed because they're like, come another step closer, and you just gonna get it. But in their minds, in those 2 whack jobs' minds, when they shot him with the gun and the shotgun, they were protecting themselves. It's like, yo, when did we become such? I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but I wanted to hear this. America needs to hear this. When the fuck have we become such a soft country that everybody thinks that a fucking gun needs to be gone to a fucking hand knife fight? Like, when did we become such pussies? Yeah, you fat rednecks. Yeah, you twats. Yeah, I'm talking to you hillbilly hicks who think that they need to have a gun everywhere they go. America loves guns. Bro, I got guns. I don't wear them on my nutsack. It is not my responsibility to talk about how I'm going to kill you. It's not. But for some reason, we become a society where everybody, this is what happened in the 90s, when young men in LA were just shooting each other. What happened to these? We could fight. My best friends that I've ever been and had in my life, I have either physically fought them or I've gotten into some arguments or we got into a fight together because I knew that I could depend on them. Yeah. That's what made me understand what manhood was about. It wasn't about being right. It was about knowing that you could count on somebody, even if you're wrong, to stand next to you, toe to toe if you got. That's why I love sports. That's why I loved wrestling and football. I respect boxers and MMA because there's a close contact you have to have with another person. And then when that person hits you, you get a little bit, it humbles you. It humbles you. Yeah. You ever been hit so hard, you're like, whoa.
Dude, you don't talk like me and never been hit. I mean, it's not, come on.
Yeah.
Shit fixes more than.
And I saw, like, if we're going on these tangents of like things that we saw, like these fight videos, like I saw these 2 dudes in a fight over some car stuff. Like some guy like pulled over and like these guys got out of the car, started fighting, and the one dude goes, "Hey, let's get out of here before the cops come." He's like, "Good fight. I respect you. I'm sorry." Sure. And it's like, and everyone's commenting like, "You should always end a fight with shaking the hand." It's like, okay, I'm sorry. Like I offended you. Like
match
we
over.
Both got mad.
Yeah.
And it's like if you like I remember literally when I got into a fight with somebody in college, he gets up and goes, "I'm sorry," and we shook hands. I'm like, "It's fine." And we walked away. And it was like, that's it. Like we don't have to worry about it anymore. Like we shook hands, it's like, hey, I stepped over my boundaries.
Was
like,
that in college?
Yeah.
Okay,
right?
so
Like,
back
you
up.
challenge them.
College is a microcosm. It's a bunch of people that graduate from high school who said, hey, I've got something to lose. Life goes on. I took my theology class, my logic class. I know about Maslow's hierarchy.
Yeah.
So, okay. So when those 2 guys get in a fight, that's a little bit different. They both want to graduate. They both want to get the job. Okay, so all I'm saying is those are known entities in the pattern. When we get out here in this new world where we've got one administration that caused all kinds of disinformation and they're both fighting and if I voted for Trump, then I'm on one side of the line. And if you voted for someone other than Trump, then you're on the other side. And then all of a sudden now you're a gang and I'm a gang and we're fighting over that political ideology.
Yeah.
And then you extrapolate it to what Akil's saying.
Yeah.
Where you get people who don't like change. You get people who are older who don't like black people because their perspective or their introduction to a black person didn't go so well the first time for whatever reason. So what do? They jump on the whole holster your sire. I think a lot of white dudes secretly want the opportunity to be the hero.
Yeah.
It's a fictional story because if you've ever been a hero, man,
But
it takes a lot to be a hero.
But it's a fascination, like all these people on TikTok who want fame, but they have no talent. It's the same as these guys who are carrying guns. I think a lot of people who are carrying guns want to be in a situation because in their mind, their reasoning. That's what I'm getting at. I think it is more pervasive than people realize. And because of our access here to firearms, anybody can pretty much get that first part of the superhero utility belt, which is the thing that changes the dynamic. Because as soon as I'm pointing this at you, I have power.
Yeah. I don't think
I'm
they.
not on that vibration though. Like I just don't.
I'm totally on that vibe.
It's like
and that's everybody's on a different
but it's
thing.
so hard. Like I've seen death.
Yeah.
I've seen destruction. I've seen what these things done. It'll fuck you up. Yeah. Like that's like literally a part of me has to pretend like I didn't see what I saw.
Yeah.
So when you see things, you're like, that's bad. And then when your homeboy dies of that way, that's all you can remember. No. It's like, yo, I remember this dude I didn't know gets killed like that. Now I think one of my homeboys that got killed like that. It's sad. It hurts. It is. Yeah. And a lot of people keep forgetting that the people who have seen the most of this, are people that look like me still. Like, again, I'm not saying blacks do more crime. It's just like our communities are smaller. Yeah. We see each other. And then we all know somebody in our hood or like a homie or something that's like, hey, that's been shot and killed over some dumb stuff at a nightclub or something like that, but you've seen it. Some people are just innocent bystanders. But then when you have these whack jobs who are actively like promoting stuff, talking about, well, you got to have a gun and you got to take care of your own. And it's like, listen, man, in my house, somebody's always armed. Somebody's always armed.
But this
but this idea that we got to be
storyline is not happening.
Good guys with guns.
Yes.
Listen, do you know that school shooting in Tennessee? The teachers in the school had guns. What happened? Same thing.
You can't.
The other school, the first guy that had a gun, he got killed. And they're like, oh, well, we had more of them in there. Like, so what? You want to have an entire police force walking around a middle school?
No, why did the dude crack and decide that instead of talking to someone, killing a bunch of people was a better idea? Like, that's where I want to go.
But then they're like, there's people that vote against policies like, oh, it's mental health, but you don't vote for more mental health facilities. No. Like, you don't. Like, honestly.
Maybe high school's not for every single kid.
Yeah. Or do you remember the 1970s? Of course you do.
Yeah.
But in the 1970s, our government did something really funny, right? They shut down all the mental institutions because they said
during Reagan.
They're bad. They're bad. Like, it was like, we need to let these people out. And they were like, okay. Wait a second. Mental disease it can be hereditary. So you let all these people who had some sort of mental deficiency, and they might have coped. They might have procreating with other people with mental issues, and so now you've got this lineage where everyone's like, well, this is right. This is nah, man. Y'all opened up floodgates and you didn't recognize. Here's what you did, politicians. Once again, you never think about the implications of your actions.
It went airborne.
It went airborne. It's like
eventually.
Now everyone has been stuck in somebody that's got
skin to skin contact.
It's like AIDS, dude.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Exactly.
I mean, people don't realize. People need to get it straight. It is medical. It is. Look at that grab though, dog. It is hereditary. It is hereditary. It is genetic. And my generation is just now like that's information that, before it was like you wanted to come up with a reason for why someone acted the way they acted. As a parent, you always want a medical diagnosis because then it's not on you, right? Like if your kid's mentally ill, a lot of times you might get a fibromyalgia diagnosis, which is not really a medical thing, but parents whose kids who have that themselves will argue that it's in the medical book.
Yeah. Do you guys have kids?
It's sad.
I do, yeah.
He's got two. He's about to be a dad.
And he's coached. Nice. He's coached my kids. Yeah. And
Those
he's coached my kids.
Yeah.
But I have
you don't have any kids.
So you were saying
he can't have babies.
Wait. Before we jump off of this, we do have somebody from another country. It's like, how do you guys handle mental health or like facilities like that, or just like even like the shootings and all that? Like, how often do you hear about a shooting in Germany?
Rarely, like barely ever.
And
I mean,
so-
it did happen sometimes. I'd have to look it up. I think the last shooting was maybe 15 years ago or so.
Jesus Christ.
And we also have homelessness, of course, but not to this extent. Like there's a lot of homeless people here.
So
and people
how
with mental
are
health
there
issues?
is the government of Germany, are they putting towards like preventing the mental health issues?
Okay, they're socialist, so a huge amount of his income every year,
yeah.
way more than
We were
32,
just
way more
talking-
than 32
we were
fucking
just talking about
percent.
the taxes.
Okay, so when you have a socialist government, you can get things done a lot more quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's more communal. You have typically less infighting, more control over the masses because it's the form of government, and they have money.
Yeah.
They have money because usually their programs are very well funded because so many people are fucking giving. The only reason why it works is because the Germans have been taxed like that forever, and you couldn't fucking do that here.
Yeah. But like I want to know
taxes
People would
extremely
say like, "Oh my
high.
god, I could make the world better
I-
for 16% more on my income."
I get-
Fuck, no way.
I
Even
get that
people
too,
with
and like
money.
you hear so much about like all these other countries and like I want to know about like, do you know of any programs for like mental health that are like very openly talked about that like that's like, yeah, we need to do this. This is what we have to do here.
I don't know any specific programs.
But, like, you know of something, like, you know that it-
yeah, in general, people they bring them back to work or clean up the streets.
I wonder how many German police are killing German mental institution patients.
I bet you none, because the German police don't have to do that.
Right? How many mental Germans are getting killed every year at the hands of law enforcement in Germany? I bet you the numbers are really fucking
Because
small.
in Germany, they don't jerk off to Roadhouse talking about how great Roadhouse was.
God.
Wow, you've really got the academy figured out, don't you? You got like their movies and everything.
Never seen
What are they
this.
eating?
They are missing out.
You
Yeah.
don't know what Roadhouse is? That now
Patrick
see
Swayze?
that
I know Patrick
that is
Swayze.
where
I
you
only know
became a
from
man.
Family Guy and like the whole
Okay.
cooking.
That's so right. I love you,
But
dude.
would you
because
guys
that's
like
what was
for
the man.
America to be socialist? Yes or no?
no.
No, hell no.
Well,
No, you're
tell-
asking me. I'm
tell me
saying
more.
no.
it's like, well, I
Or
don't.
more social.
I believe that if we were more social,
And at what point are you a socialist?
at the point where I have to share everything,
Oh, yeah.
like when they're like,
Well, that's communism, though.
yeah,
Well,
that's
not socialist.
again,
What am I sharing?
everything is when like you're a socialist. It's like you have to share like, hey, your car is not actually your possession; it's a possession of the state.
That's communism.
Well, that's what. So
No,
Yo,
just saying, that's when you're a
I'm
socialist.
gonna need your whip.
Can I-
real
It's never
quick,
actually
bro.
happened here.
I want to introduce like.
that's communism.
So
though.
Paul and I sat down.
Maybe we don't.
What? What?
That's wild.
No. I didn't
I know
say
what you-
that.
I know what you- I know what you
I
meant.
said it becomes a possession of the
share.
state.
Yeah, position of the state. Yeah, it's communism.
But hey,
it's not
can-
socialism. I agree. Because Italy's socialist.
But
you
hey,
guys are
can I?
socialist.
I want Paul to tell them about what you were telling me on Monday about like how your parents lived.
Oh yeah.
In
they're
socialist
They are
Germany.
from Eastern Germany, and they fled. They left the country, got disowned. Everything was taken away from them, just because they left Eastern Germany
And
they
that's
wanted
wild.
to go to a capitalist country.
Tell them about your parents and
Go
how they had
closer
a
to the mic.
radio. Like he had a
Oh.
radio.
Yeah, get closer to the
They
mic.
had a
Put them closer to
cans
the
on
mic.
them.
They had a cassette recorder, and the Stasi, state police, they knocked on the door pretty much and said, and said, you have a cassette recorder, we're taking it from you. It's capitalist. You're not supposed to own it. Took it out.
Now, see that's the part I don't want. Where it's like my car becomes the possession of the state. Like, no,
I get
you
clock
don't get
radio.
to have it. Like, that's what I meant. Like, that's what I.
But
That's
you've always had
people-
that. You've always had that freedom of in your family when they went Eastern, right? There was already highly socialist, communist where they were living. Correct? They already had more government control before the wall went up. Yes or no?
well, the wall was up in what 1950 something.
So they were on the eastern side their whole life.
62.
So that's all they knew. All they knew was giving over their recorder, right?
Like I don't
If you asked an
understand the
American, if a
question.
cop asked an American, he'd have a real debate on his hands.
Oh,
If he
giving.
asked-
You.
if they said, "Give me your phone,
Give me your
video,"
Yeah, give me that because it's
my
now
job,
possession
yeah.
of the state.
Right.
That's what I mean. Like
That's my goddamn
the
right.
government. It's like, no, man, I want a warrant before I give you this.
right,
Oh,
right.
Like
Yeah.
my constitutional rights are, I don't have to be undue search and seizure, right? So you just can't come here and grab stuff off of me. Like you had no probable cause. So that's like where I look at you and said, my constitutional rights are X. You can't do that to me. I don't believe in complete so social programs. I'd like us to be more social,
It's so
but I'd rather
interesting.
not my possessions can be overtaken
It's
by
so
the
interesting
state.
watching you, dude, because like he's like speaking like the Bible truth of like what our organism is, and you're looking at me sort of like it makes sense, but like some of it's foreign to you because like it will be that's gunfight shit in a car for me. Like I'll go
It's like-
because like I know like if I'm recording you and you ask for my shit, we're gonna go. We're gonna
Yeah,
go.
I'm not
Like,
giving
law
this to
enforcement,
you.
You don't have no power over
Nope.
me now. We're gonna go.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. Like your folks would be like, that's expected, right? It's expected to do
It was
that.
expected back in the 80s,
Shit.
and you know,
Can you imagine
That's
being?
bloodshed.
Can you imagine being some dumbass American getting pulled over in Easton? Being
Well, see, that's
told,
the
"Fuck
problem.
off."
Like Americans, like that's why we're stupid when we. Number one,
Take it.
again, I've met enough of a lot of people like from different countries, but one of the things is like you can build bonds without ever speaking. You know, I was telling you about my friend Andre, who speaks Italian and doesn't speak any English, but we became really close friends because I knew enough that I could get by and that we spoke without language. But I also recognize, man, I respect the fuck out of other countries when I go there. Most Americans do not respect the fuck out of other countries. They look like, why aren't you speaking English? Like,
oh yeah.
what? Like, there's Americans that
But
think like,
I
what?
think Americans have a very positive attitude. For example, when we go to France, let's say, you know, nobody will speak English with you.
Yeah, well,
You have
they.
to speak, you know?
If I attempt to speak French and they go, you know what, motherfucker, you can't speak it. Okay,
they will, but
you
first you
tried,
have to
you
try
tried,
to speak
you tried.
French.
You didn't do very well, but you got through a hello and a, can I get a glass of wine? So
Well, and that's also
That's
like,
pretty much all I
those
can
are
think.
that's also during the Charles de Gaulle period where France was really anti-America. So, well, I will say, yeah, when I was traveling in France, I thought that was gonna be the experience. And I was like, oh, I stayed there for 3 months, and I was like, these people are gonna be stuffy. I'm gonna fucking hate every moment of this. And maybe it's my personality. I like just like Akil. I was just gonna say this. You brought up a really interesting point, and this is why I think Europeans are well balanced. Traveling to other places, not Disney World. I'm talking like other countries, other places where people have other traditions, other ways of going about their day. You've traveled to many places in Europe. You have that understanding. You've seen the world out there, which gives you a better understanding of the world that you come back to and its limitations. I'm also well traveled. I've had that opportunity to do that, which gives me a better perspective of people, right? You got some guy that's lived in the same fucking county his whole life and he's worked the same place and is eating the same shit on Friday and watching the same television shows for 25 years. That guy is the guy that pulls out the gun and shoots somebody.
because he thinks that he has the right to, and it's like, nah, man, the world's a lot bigger than that.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at.
And I wish the world was. I wish people could realize the world was bigger. There are 8 billion people in the world. 8 billion. Most of them live on 2 continents. Do most people even know which continents those are?
China.
Asia and Africa.
Asia and Africa.
I was not going to say North. I wasn't going to say North America. I
Yeah,
just know
yeah.
it's the white American.
But for some reason, leave it to the foreigner to go, yeah, Asia and Africa. Like the 2 biggest continents would probably have the most people.
Better worldview.
Yeah.
Europeans, better worldview.
Yeah, like, or maybe his university system also doesn't
been
cost him a
around
fucking
longer.
arm and a leg.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
if
He's like, I got to learn
Europeans-
for like far cheaper than you guys did.
if Europeans with their history for how long how are we talking about?
Oh, a couple thousand.
Couple thousand?
Yep.
Okay. That's like having great grandma, and grandpa in the same house with you. Right? Anything goes down, you can go to history, you
It's
can
like
ask
some Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory shit.
right? Yes, perfect fucking example.
Yeah.
Okay, America, it's like your parents were divorced and you're a latchkey kid, Like, there's no generation. We're so young as a democracy. We're 300 and some odd years. We have we're like, our growth potential is not anywhere near that. So we don't have the same base of, our wheel isn't as big. We don't have the same timber. We haven't been as many bats. We haven't thrown as many receptions.
Yeah.
But yet we think we are as, I don't know. And my thing is with people not traveling is I think that people are afraid to find out what they're not achieving.
Well, and that was something for me is
It's easy to stay down here if you just hang out with these people.
the greatest thing that I think I've ever done in my life was moving to Ohio for a year and going to school. It opened my broader view of how people believe.
I went to Dayton, Ohio. Same thing with me, dude.
Dude, and my viewpoint was always just, my parents born and raised in Portland, went to college in Portland, PSU. It's
University of Portland.
Yeah, it's like my grandpa, my grandma, they all went to U of O. Like, it's on both sides of my family. So then all of a sudden I go to Ohio, and I believe in a certain viewpoint. Everybody believes in the same thing as me. Like, I know I've heard things like, okay, like it's gonna be a little different out there. I get out there. I talk to guys that are from Pittsburgh, went to Penn Hills, live a completely different life than me.
You even know that? I have much respect, dude.
Yeah.
Alec
Aaron
Quippo
Donald
represent. What up?
there. But hey,
I keep forgetting, dude. That's crazy.
I'm going to school and I'm playing football with guys from
Druid Hills.
Pittsburgh,
Druid Heights.
Pennsylvania, all over Pennsylvania, from rural parts or from the big cities. Like, I had a friend, he's like, I literally had 33 kids in my graduating class. I'm like, I had like 200, 300 something. And then I met another girl. She's like, I had 3,000 people in my graduating class. I'm like, what the hell? She's like, I go to the biggest like high school in America. I'm like, what?
A lot of kids in Texas will tell you that. They're like,
but it's,
how many did you have?
but
Well, that ain't nothing.
it's also like getting to know, like I have democratic views. Like, I'm sitting there and then I hear somebody say something. I'm like, wow. And like during the whole Trump Clinton presidency, everybody's like asking like, oh, who are you
Trump
voting
Clinton.
for? Hillary.
Yeah.
Oh god, I
Hillary.
forgot about her.
So my roommate, he's pretty hardcore. Like, he told me, he's like, I'm not voting for Hillary. Did you see the movie 13 Hours? I'm like, hold up.
Okay.
You're basing your vote off of
Benghazi.
off of a movie?
Benghazi was not
Over
her
a
fault.
movie?
So
Wild.
that
But
family
that's-
that family is from
This
Portland.
speaks everything.
The
I don't
13
even-
hours.
13 hours?
Yeah, the family's from Portland who made that movie.
Oh,
Or they're from that. They're not from Portland. They're from
Pendleton.
Lake
No.
Oswego.
like Lake Oswego area.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they're from Lake Oswego area. So the family's
Lakers.
from, and that's why. And they go to all the wrestling tournaments, and they're always like promoting this thing. And I'm just like, yeah, listen. As much as I respect your son and his sacrifice for our country, this is weird to me.
Yeah.
But what?
Like, you keep
is
telling me, I'm
intriguing.
like,
You're promoting
you-
yourself.
They don't even know. Like, the story was half complete when they put it out there.
Yeah.
So he had died maybe 2 years earlier. But like, you're like, oh, but she knew all this stuff and she was erasing. I like, look, I get that they're angry.
They made a movie that's
Yeah.
like a conspiracy theory
it's got
thing.
the theories in it, and that's what I'm like. I don't know this to be true because what it says is like evidence points towards, and it's like, but it's not evidence.
I read the whole book.
Yeah,
I
they're
read
from
the
here.
whole freaking book.
And they talk about evidence.
Can I
points
jump
towards.
in really quick? I know this is a good topic, but I want to go back to like the traveling and
sorry.
like getting to learn. No, it's fine. Like,
He's right.
but it's
This is what men do.
But we get caught on these trances, but it's so amazing to me because I'm moving to Ohio. I don't know what's going on. The best thing that happened to me was this man coaching me senior year and going, hey, my cousin went to Mount Union. Like, he's going to be able, like, he's just kind of he's the only one checking in on me too, regularly. Like, I had friends that weren't even checking in on me, like, that I considered best friends. This guy's texting me every day, like, dude, are you okay? Like, is everything okay? And I'm just telling him, like, dude, the way some of these people, like, talk and, like, believe, it's like, I'm not used to this. Like, I feel like I am so out of water. Where am I? Like, what? And he, like, was kind of guiding me, like,
keep swimming, bro,
because
because I know what you're
super
saying.
weird, dude. Because like these two, and like even you moved to Pittsburgh, you moved to Ohio, like you know it. Like these guys came from the East Coast and like have seen all this crazy shit. Then they come over here and they're like, wow, you guys have it pretty good over here. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
It's like, oh, you're homeless or you're off. I'm like, yeah, the homeless is terrible. Why do you let them put tents everywhere?
It's a you trade one for the other.
Yeah.
And then you have to make the decision. So I
But
would
how important it is to travel. Like Paul gets to travel wherever he wants and gets to go see different governments. Like think
that's
of
why
how
Paul's not going to shoot me or freak out if I cut him off on I-5.
Yeah. And like think of how
He's gonna
like,
flip you off though. I mean,
It's possible.
You guys know what
It's
this means and this
But,
means.
but you know, if you flip someone off in Germany, you get fined.
Oh. But it's
That's $1,000.
it's so
How much? Whoa, stop. It's how much?
Yeah, it
No,
depends on
you
the
got to say this in the mic.
severity. Sorry, I interrupted you. It depends on how bad you insult someone.
Don't be
but
a dick.
Yeah, if you say fuck you or whatever, you know, it costs you that much. But if you say blah 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 blah, then it's more expensive.
So the more I insult you, the more my fine will be.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Because it's not going to make the situation
my
better.
God.
It only is going to make it worse.
I want to be
love
on
that.
So
It's like
tell
children.
me,
It's
tell
like
me,
fucking
I
children,
want to
man.
be. Tell me like 4 German stations I need to like reach out to so I can be on them to see if I can get fines.
Does
Just give me
you
4
angry?
like 4 stations that I should reach out to.
On the break.
Like-
on the
like-
break, we'll do that.
Like
TVs?
TV, radio, whatever.
I mean, you could call the ZDF or state TV pretty much.
Okay, all right, ZDF.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
ZDF.
What do you want to do? You want to call them and insult
like-
them?
Oh yeah, I want to see if I can rack up fines on their network. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
Why?
like,
But
dude,
for what purpose?
I don't know to see what it's
we'll
like.
mail you.
No, that's
we'll mail
something you do when you're
something.
13. Don't do that as a grown man. Let's just think this through. Like, is it a publicity stunt or
it's a
like
character.
Absolutely, it's a
That's
publicity
character.
stunt.
Okay, then
Yeah.
that's where we start there.
It's a publicity stunt. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
They won't play
Open
the
with that next time.
Oh,
anyways.
yeah.
You sounded like Gus for a second. I was like, no, dude, let's rethink this.
Yes, I'm a shock jock from 2001. Yes, I want the cheap. Hey, listen. What I've learned is white guys would listen to a radio show that's like they're trying to censor them, and they will all flock to us because we were getting censored from German television.
I want to keep talking about like the well-traveled portion
Love
of
Blake.
It's like, bro,
well, it's because it's like I'm sitting here
we'll
with
mail you,
with
man.
4
Like,
people
you're all right, brother.
that have experienced so much more and like so much different culture.
Those
that
white
I-
claws really get to you.
I'm just trying to make a point, and it's
he's
Yeah.
my
obviously
point
uncomfortable.
is like, why can't we make it so every kid? I wish in-state and out-of-state tuition wasn't a thing, because if so many kids can go experience all these, exactly, you can understand different viewpoints, and it opens you up because you guys
Because
are all so much more
it
traveled
fixes
than I
so
am.
much. Like you, I knew it was gonna happen with you.
Well,
but like,
and this
so
is-
many people just get
this is
exposed
why-
to life.
I'm so lucky to like have you in my life and like Akil and Mark. And it's like, I talk to you guys about something and it's like, oh, my buddy out. And like, we were talking about Super Bowls, like Super Bowl bets and all that. And Mark's like, hey man, I got boys out in Philadelphia and they're telling me this about the Eagles, like just random stuff, like even anything, just random stuff. It's like, I get that viewpoint from somebody that is so cultured and has gone around to these different cultures. Like Akil's told me crazy stories about like being in Maryland or just like living in DC or just, this man is so well traveled and he tells me these stories. I'm like, wow, like I could never even imagine like that's just a way of living or something. It's like, holy shit. Thank God like you're teaching me that, because I would never have even thought about it.
But he has
Boston.
Yeah, but he also has to think about Akil. I mean, like, the one thing that's really interesting about him for me is I keep wanting to find that thing that's like the or the chink that's like the real gaping chink that doesn't seem to work, or they're like there's some bullshit. And what's great is it is authentic because his background is so
Random?
not random. No, it is because you. And again, it's having that base. And it doesn't mean that if you don't have the base that you're fucked. It just means that base gives you a better opportunity. It's a better mound to pitch from.
Yeah.
And he had the mound, and I've had the mound. And for me, when I went to Ohio and I got dropped off at the airport there, and I called a cab, and I didn't call it. The cab was already waiting out the line of them. And I got in, and my cabbie was black. And I was like, I fucking made the right choice. But that was me at a young age. Like I was like, oh no, this is fucking totally different. Like I wasn't, and my sister had gone to Notre Dame. My brother was Villanova, so that's Philly,
Yeah.
South Bend, Indiana. I mean, like
Indiana.
my dad was Canadian, so like
Yeah, there was a whole lot of black people where your parents was with.
Yeah.
you know, like
in Philadelphia.
but we all had like this. we all had this support that we should go out and check things out. And and we were all encouraged to do it, and we were assisted in doing it. And that helps. And a lot of freaking people do not have that. And so it makes that opportunity really difficult. So I think you're right. You got to try and figure out a way to get more people, especially young folks, in like foreign programs where they get to go. Inner city kids, that are from New York that go into like France and shit. Like that would be probably game changer.
Well, it's a game changer it's just so important to go like learn about somebody else's culture and like get associated with that, because you learn about the struggles that they go through that you might have never even had a clue to.
Or cool shit they do, like they don't work to live. They work to live, not live to work.
Oh yes, I want America adopt the guaranteed 1 month off.
Or 4 days a week and like 1 month off.
Yes,
or something.
There is absolutely ridiculous. To like people work almost all the time anyway. They find a way to get work done. So why make them do this 9 to 5 bull crap? Let people. COVID taught us one thing that was very, very important. Family matters. Like it matters to do things with people you care about. Maybe not all the time, but more time than we had been.
No, originally I was reacting because I thought you were talking about from the perspective of the worker, and I totally agree. And what's so funny is it's never been more clear that the corporate side is like, we need them back in the office. We feel very uncomfortable when we cannot manage those mice. And don't forget what it's doing to commercial real estate. There is a huge pressure on corporations and the buildings that they occupy to get the seats back, to get the people back in the seats, because they are paying for those seats.
I'm well aware.
Don't forget
of all of that. I have to go ask, what's your physical occupancy when I go doing an inspection? It's like, they're super uncomfortable when they tell me, like, didn't you get the rent roll? I'm like, no, I want to know the physical occupancy. Like, how many people are coming in here? Well, a lot of these companies are kind of going hybrid, and a lot of them are not going to renew their lease at the end of the year. It's like, what?
Good. No, seriously. Like, we should have better housing. Like, some of these office complexes, if you turn them into dope-ass condos and penthouses, I would totally be in it.
We need people in offices because they need to. I feel like the working like mindset has kind of gone down because people are at home and they can like, I can just like my daily routine. Like, luckily, I'm super blessed that I have the opportunity to be like, I could work from home if I wanted to, but I need to wake up in the morning. I need to take a shower. I need to get ready to go to work. I need to get dressed up. I need to go put on this face of like, I'm gonna go get this. Like, I need it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys need that. Those of us who did it for almost 20 years, we don't.
Okay.
I think that's part of the problem is like there's these.
But the
two
way you
different-
respond,
But
you're
absolutely
But it's
right.
like
He's
kids
totally
need
right.
to go like.
But I said he's totally right.
for his age group.
You
Yeah.
guys need,
Yeah.
and that's
We-
why we screwed
need
you up.
We need to go into an office and get that working mentality like in check and ready to go. Like, I have a boss that like he comes in and like he's still crushing deals at home. He does everything at home. Like, he'll come in sometimes because he's like, I want to like show
He's
my
got
face.
kids and he's married.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but that's what he said. But he's also did the grind for 20 years.
Yeah.
He's also like,
grinded. He always
He's like, I don't need to be there all the time because that shit sucks.
and even he says he's like,
It
I feel
sucks
bad. I'm
sometimes.
not coming in and like showing my face. Like, I want you guys to know, like, I'll love you, but like, I have like my life too. He's like, I've also like worked so hard that like I can do this now. It's
Yeah.
like you need to work your ass off to earn that. You can't just be like, I'm gonna
agree.
work.
Agree.
Like
100%.
I have friends that are like, I just work from home. I do this. Like, I don't shower till like late in the afternoon. It's like, no, wake up at 6 a.m. Get a schedule. Like, it sounds just, and they're like, I'm struggling right now, dude, and I can't figure it out. It's like, go into your office, work.
I
do
think
something.
I'm going to agree that his generation, those the Xers,
No, I'm Xer.
no, what are they called? Gen
Z.
He's a
Gen
millennial.
Z.
You're not a
No,
millennial.
he's Gen Z.
I'm in
No, he's Gen
between,
Z.
yeah,
He's Gen Z.
because I was born '97.
As
so
a
it's
Gen
like,
Zer, and as like I'm an older millennial, I'm like the first millennial, damn near.
Right, you are.
I would say to you, You guys need to go to the office.
Yes.
You need to be around people. You need to learn how to socialize.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Like, again, us that are in our 40s or late 30s or in our 50s, it's like, yo, we did this since the 90s.
Yeah.
We get it. Like
love
wearing bad. Oh my God. If you look back at some of your first pictures in a suit and tie, you thought you were so dope and you go, oh my God, what the frick was I wearing back then? But you were just trying to get a job. You were just
Because
trying
back
to fit
then,
in.
remember the pants were still pleated.
Oh yeah, they just.
You always mine always looked like I had like a fucking pants.
Honestly, my
Well,
shit's
'cause-
always been on tight.
Yeah, I know. I can imagine. You probably knew style better.
Well, but like I have like
Yeah,
a boss,
just 'cause
and
I'm
he's
millennial.
like, "Oh, dude, you're dressing up a little bit too much. Like you can wear jeans and like all that." I'm like, dude, I'm working for the job I want. Like I want to prove, like I want to show you guys, like I'm about it.
Well, yeah,
like, I want
that's.
this.
I think that's a uniquely Pacific Northwest thing. Most of the country really does still wear suit and ties, especially like New York.
Yeah.
Those guys, Philly,
Blazers.
they like suit and ties. They wear it, and they wear the full suit. You know, don't mess it up. Out here, it's like jeans,
Yeah.
button up, no tie, jacket, good shoes.
Luckily, I don't have to wear a tie, but it's like I wear like my dress shirt to work every day. I wear like slacks, khakis. I try not to wear jeans. Like on Fridays, I do get a little bit more lax. I'm like, I feel like I've earned that. Like I can let me wear my jeans and
But as Eric Deppman says, look good, play good, right?
yeah.
Like, you know,
Well, it's like when you feel good
up.
and you look good, like you feel like you're gonna go dominate.
Right.
Like I feel that when I work from home, it's like I don't shower. Like I wake up a little bit later than I usually do. I drink my coffee as I'm going. Like
you're not with your peer group.
what?
You're not with your peer group.
No.
Yeah, you guys need each other, and I think that's what they like. We don't like. I mean,
I agree.
we need each other enough, but
we
not
had
all
the
the
90s
time.
and the aughts.
Yeah.
He's already starting off, and so is Paul. They're starting off. Paul's different because
Paul
he's
owns
German.
his own company.
Okay, well,
Baller.
awesome. I'm
And
proud of
Germany
Paul for that.
was
But like,
sorry,
socialist.
he was
he's
probably
also-
going to those
it doesn't
EDM
change his
concerts back in the
it doesn't
day.
change
Like,
his chronological age though, and the experiences that he had. He doesn't. I doubt that he remembers growing up without the internet necessarily.
Yeah, because Paul, what year were you born?
1993.
Okay, so the
93, I
internet was just
Yeah.
starting. So by the time '96 was around, you had access to the internet, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a bad or good different. It's just he had that whole vortex of information and think and see anything he wanted,
You're just turning 30. This year, okay.
right? So
I just thought about that. I was like, oh, he's
Are you
just getting.
83?
In July.
Well,
it doesn't make
just
that
turned
because
30,
he's a
so yeah.
business owner or because he's his age that he shouldn't have something. It just means that like his purview is different than Akil's purview than my purview.
Yeah.
And you guys got stuck with 3, if not 4, out of your 30 years of this strange thing where the whole world turned upside down, where things you thought you believed were turned upside down. And if you're American, even more because our political situation during that period of time,
It was hectic.
then you had people who I hate using that word woke. You had a bunch of people like sometimes when a kid falls down the well, you don't need the whole fucking town to show up.
Yeah.
And you had the whole town showing up everywhere during the riots and the fires. And what I started to see was all these social issues, some that we have never dealt with properly, and then like the keeping up with the Joneses, and you had this break, and the government gave people money. And it was a forced break where all you had to do is think about yourself and your shit and where you were in life and what fucking mattered. And you started finding out that you started finding joy in picking your fucking kids up in school. Right? Like, or you had nothing going on and the only thing was at 3:30 you had to go to school and you're like, fuck, that can't come fast enough. Like, that's my shit, you know? Like, and then it was getting your kids to practice, and your kids are like fucking 17, they can drive themselves. You're like, no, I got it, you know, and you're fucking driving them and you're picking them up, and you're like, and then you start realizing, I gotta see these kids, and they're gonna be fucking gone,
Yeah.
right? If they're not already gone with their peer group. So what happened was the level over here came up, I think. And this, I gotta produce. I gotta fucking compete. I gotta work for retirement. I gotta have a huge, massive bank flow so that I can fucking retire and be old and be
So you
fucking
can give your
old.
kids something to leave
right? Or
behind.
that's a possibility.
No,
If you're
I just want to
Let-
leave enough.
okay, legacy. Let's just say that you want to be there long enough to see your family thrive.
Like that's my entire
Okay.
goal in my life is like I know I'm probably gonna have kids at some point. Like you guys all have kids. Like I want to have kids. It's like I want to do whatever I can to like leave a legacy. Like I care more about leaving something behind for them than like how I'm living. It's like I could care less about me.
Then
I
that
wanna
means you're
leave you
getting back
something.
to you're getting back to pre-baby boomers where it was about sacrifice. Okay. Gen Xers were like, wait a minute, women can go get their own jobs, they can have their own career. I don't have to have kids. There's nothing wrong with me if I don't bear children. That was kind of our group, was like, hey, you can be with whoever you want to be with. 2s and 3s is okay.
Yeah,
Like,
but you're divorced. Like, there's a lot of divorce error happening around you
to-
guys. Like,
oh.
they're like, I don't want to have kids, so I don't want to leave them with a fucking key and a fucking notebook and a $20 bill.
Or I'm only going to have 2 instead of
That's
4.
how I
All I'm
lived.
getting at is we were not really in sacrifice mode. I think it's coming back where it's like, it's good to hear someone say, when I have a family, first that's good to hear to say, and I want to be able to leave something behind for them, as opposed to your own dream of, I want to open up a bar in fucking Key West, which has nothing to do with your kids.
I mean, that was always a stupid dream. That guy who said, I want to open up a bar in Key West. I'm like, that is a dumb dream to have, sir, because it's pretty fucking selfish. It's like, who's working this bar? You don't know how to cook. Like,
His first business was hot dogs on a stick. You know what I mean? Like, anything he does has never been
yeah,
very
no, well
successful.
thought out. Yeah, it's like that guy's like, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
You
as
gotta leave
we,
some fundamentals with that, because you can leave all the money in the world, but like if you don't leave like tools to go through life, right? Those important things. What's money gonna do for you long term, right? Like how's it gonna improve your life? Who knows where you're not gonna like. Who knows you're gonna live happy, right? If you don't know how to be a good person sometimes.
Well, and that's why like I feel like
he's got a good point. He's talking about more like
No, he's talking about
equity
morals.
and
Well,
family.
Money's great too, but
well,
like
and
just
along like your point, and it's like I brought it up
skills.
and I've kind of talked to you a little. I like brought it up one time. It's like I'm doing a job that like I love and I'm super blessed to have it. But it's like growing up, I knew what I wanted to do. Like I wanted to make art. Like I wanted to be a cook. Like I wanted to make something that people just like they savor over it. They think about it. They talk about it. They tell their friends in other states. When you go to Portland, Oregon, you have to go to like Blake Long's shack of like whatever I want to make. Like maybe Italian. I don't even know. But it's like growing up, I lived in a house with a super successful person who my mom was with for a little bit. He helped me grow to like the person I am today. Super great guy. This man like gets brought up on all these like investment things. Like he's super successful. Super lucky to have him in my life, but this guy would come home and work for 3 hours in the kitchen creating the best chicken cutlet, so thin, crispy, his grandma's recipe from Italy. And it's like, I want to create that. I want to share that with the world. Like, I want that. Like, how do I do that? But it's also because I didn't want to do it, because once I found out, hey, you're either making just enough to live or you're in the gutter. Like, it's a struggle, dude. And it's like, God, do I want to put myself in that other turmoil of like struggling, but I know I'm making people happy? Or do I just want to not have to worry about that? Like, I would love to cook you guys a meal or something and be like, God, look at that.
Regardless of whatever you decide to do with your finite amount of time on this little planet, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
You're going to have problems.
It's always a
and
struggle.
you're going to be wondering all the fucking time. So if I could do it over again, if someone were to ask me, like, legitimately, what could I do where I could be successful at it, it would be back to storytelling in the film business.
Yeah.
Or straight, as I'm standing here in front of you, front a band. Like, in a heartbeat, and that's not a dream. It's like something that I probably should have focused on, but music was for fags where I came from. Music, what are you gonna do with fucking music? Music's not a fucking career. That's where I came from, right? So that you didn't even think about that because you didn't want to bring that up. So my generation graduated from college in 4 years, and then
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Join us for another Sunday Funday podcast right here. And guess what? Like, follow, and subscribe. Join us every week as we talk about things that men love. But remember, it's Sunday. Get the heck out of the house. Go have some fun. Deuces.